Haruki Murakami got the idea to write his first novel while watching a baseball game. He never set out to become a writer. He was just a regular guy who wrote a novel in his spare time. The novel happened to win a new writer's prize, and this is how he became a novelist. Once he started writing seriously, he did a complete makeover of his lifestyle. He established a writing routine, he left the city, and started going to bed early and getting up early, and even quit smoking. He also started running every day. More about running later. So this is how Haruki Murakami writes his novels, in his own words. A few things before you start writing. The first task for the aspiring novelist is to read tons of novels. No training is more crucial. To write a novel, you must first understand at a physical level how one is put together. It is especially important to plow through as many novels as you can while you're still young. Everything you can get your hands on, great novels, not so great novels, crappy novels, it doesn't matter as long as you keep reading. Absorb as many stories as you physically can. This is your most important task. Writing is important too, but it can come later. There's no need to rush. My first step in my novel writing process is metaphorically to clean off my desk. I will work on nothing but the novel until it is completed, so I need to prepare. If I happen to be writing a series of essays, for example, I have to break it off, at least for the time being. Unless something really extraordinary comes along, all new projects are turned down. I'm the sort of person who, when I throw myself into one thing, can't do anything else. It's true that I often work on translations while writing a novel, but those are done at my own pace and without any deadline. And I use them to give me a break from my writing. Translation is a technical process, so it uses a different part of the brain than creative writing. Rather than hindering the progress of a novel, therefore, working simultaneously on a translation can actually aid in the process by helping me keep my mental balance, a bit like stretching before exercising. When writing a novel, my rule is to produce roughly 10 Japanese manuscript pages, equivalent of 1600 English words every day. This works out to about 2.5 pages on my computer. On days when I want to write more, I will stop after 10 pages. When I don't feel like writing, I force myself to somehow fulfill my quota. Why do I do it this way? Because it is especially important to maintain a steady pace when tackling a big project. That can't work if you write a lot one day and nothing at all the next. So I punch in, write my 10 pages, and then punch out, as if I'm working on a time card. This sounds more like working in a factory, and I concur. That's not how artists work. But why must a novelist be an artist? Who made that rule? No one, right? So why not write in whatever way is most natural to you? Moreover, refusing to think of oneself as an artist removes a lot of pressure. More than being artists, novelists should think of themselves as free. Free meaning that we're able to do what we like, when we like, in a way we like, without worrying about how the world sees us. This is far better than wearing the stiff and formal robes of an artist. Awake early each morning, brew a fresh pot of coffee, and work for 4 or 5 hours straight. 10 pages a day means 300 pages a month. That works out to 1800 pages in 6 months. When I finish writing a book, I take a short break. It depends on the situation, but usually about 1 week, before undertaking the first rewrite. Then I start at the beginning and plow straight through the end. At this stage, I make sweeping changes, leaving nothing untouched. No matter how long the novel is or how complex its structure, I will have composed it without any fixed outline, not knowing how it will unfold or end, letting things take their course and improvising as I go along. This is by far the most fun way to write. The rewrite usually takes a month or two. When I finish, I break for another week or so, and then begin the second rewrite. As with the first rewrite, I start at the head and work my way through. The difference is that now I focus on the details of the manuscript, fine-tuning passages of natural description and adjusting the tone of the dialogues. Once I have finished, I take another break and then plunge into the third rewrite. This time, no cutting is involved. Instead, I tweak the novel, tightening a screw here, loosening a screw there, making sure that all is in place. Writing a novel means sitting alone in my study for over a year, sometimes 2 or even 3 years. Thinking that hard and long about things, your brain gets overheated. So after that, I need to give my head a rest. That's why I spend my afternoons napping, enjoying music, reading innocuous books. That kind of life, though, gets you out of shape physically. So every day I spend about an hour outdoors exercising. That sets me up for the next day's work. Day after day, without exception, I repeat this cycle. The slogan of Alcoholics Anonymous is one day at a time, and that's exactly what this is like. Maintaining a set rhythm, steadily hauling in one day after the other, and sending them on their way. Silently continue to do this, and at a certain point, something happens inside you. But it takes time to reach this point, and until then, you have to be very patient. What do you need in order to patiently keep going? Needless to say, it's stamina. Whether you write novels or short stories, or maintain creativity over a long period of time, you need the kind of staying power that makes this continual process possible. Well, then, what do you need to do to acquire that kind of stamina? I have one answer, and a very simple one. You have to become physically fit. You need to become robust and physically strong and make your body your ally. I began running once I became a full-time writer, and for 30 years, running for an hour a day, or sometimes swimming, has been a regular part of my daily schedule. And I have continued to run every day with hardly ever taking a break. Once a year, I run a full marathon, and I've participated in triathlons as well. I enjoy running, and I am just continuing something that suits my personality. No matter how strong your will might be, you're not going to do something for 30 years if it doesn't suit you. And this is how Haruki Murakami writes.